Oh man, here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Elijah, and today I'm doing something a little different again. The last time I did one of these types of videos, it was on the Khmer Rouge. Do you remember that one? Probably. It was cringe. It was major cringe. It was terrible. I hated it. I was editing it and I was like, ah, it's bad. I love this background. Bro, it wiggles with my chair. So my last assignments video got demonetized. Because, yeah, it got demonetized because the words Khmer Rouge are in the title. They gave me limited to no ads on that video, which is ridiculous because there was literally nothing in that video that was in any way not advertiser friendly. So I got a thing. I appealed it. Big words. Not really. I appealed it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, that's no problem. You get ads on that." I was like, "Okay." So by now you've already seen the title of this video. If you haven't, it's very creative. It's very cool. I thought real hard about it. Today I'm making an entire video about toilets. This is epic. This is super epic. I was thinking, for my Japanese assignment, what could I do? What could I do that's interesting, that's cool? And I was thinking I could do martial arts. I mean, I have enough experience with martial arts. Here is the proof. It's my black belt. I have experience. Yeet. Oh, that hit the light. Whoops. But I thought, martial arts, it's kind of boring, isn't it? To talk about for like 10 minutes. It's not really that entertaining. And I was like, well, I could do food, I could do religion, I could do culture, and I was like, it's kind of boring, isn't it? So I eventually found myself at toilets, and I thought, you know what, that's a great video idea. And the cool thing about it is, it's entertaining. To start off, there is one thing that you do need to know about toilets in Japan, and that is that they are everywhere. Literally everywhere. You cannot go somewhere that is like a tourist destination or a public space without finding a toilet. Even in like shops and supermarkets, places like that, you will find a toilet. But keeping in mind that there are toilets everywhere, there is also the fact that they're not all necessarily for public use all the time. It is always a very, very good idea to ask before you use them if you can use them or not. Japanese toilets. Yes. So in Japan, there are actually like a lot of different ways to say toilet. It's not necessarily that there's a lot of words in Japanese for the word toilet. It's just there's a lot of different words that they use instead of toilet, if that makes sense. For example, if you're eating, right, and it doesn't matter if you're eating out or if you're just eating at home, you tend not to use the word for toilet, which I'm pretty sure is like toire. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, probably got that completely wrong, but it'sToire. Pretty sure that it's toire. I'll have to check that. I will have to check that, but for this video, that'll do. So instead, they would use words like, how do you pronounce this one? Keshoshitsu, I think is how you pronounce it. Or another one, which I cannot pronounce, Instead, you'd use words like
化粧室
and
お手洗い
they use a lot of different words to say toilet. So here we'd use like toilet, bathroom, restroom. Can't really think of anything else, to be honest. But over there, man, there's a whole list. Let's have a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different ways of saying toilet. So in Japan there are 3 different types of toilets. There's washiki, yoshiki, and takino. Yeah, I got that right. I've got all my information on the screen over there and just like, well, oh, I have to keep checking it just to make sure. It's not that I don't know the information, it's just that I need to recap and remember. The 3 types of toilets are, of course, the traditional Japanese toilet, the Western style toilet, and then there's a multifunction toilet, which is like for people in wheelchairs or people who have a disability or stuff like that. Of course, they can be used by anyone, but they are like, they're kind of like the disabled toilets here. You get what I mean? So the traditional Japanese toilet's actually kind of weird. I'm gonna try and get a picture of it up on the screen, maybe here or somewhere. But you have to like squat down over it. You can't sit on it. It's kind of weird. They're not really used much anymore, especially in the home. They're not used at all, I don't think, anymore. But they are still found sometimes in like public toilets, tourist destinations, and like old buildings. But you don't really tend to find them at all now in Japan. So obviously the Western style toilet is very similar to your own toilet. It's like the one you've got in your bathroom. Except in Japan, sometimes they can be a lot more complicated than your own standard toilet. So in places like hotels, the toilet and the bath are usually separate, like in the same room, but there's usually like a screen or a glass door between the two. Right, so now that we've gone over that, flushing the Japanese toilets, it's a big ordeal, man. Flushing these toilets, I mean, there's some that are like your own toilet, where you've got the little handle and you do the thing, you know that one? They're fairly standard. Then you've got the ones with the little lever on the back. Now these ones are weird. There's a little, in the pipe, the little lever sticks out, and you have to pull that, and it flushes the toilet. There are also ones where there might be a button on the wall, which you see, I think you see them here in like public bathrooms and stuff like that. You see the little button on the wall that you press. They have those. And then there are ones where you just hover your hand over a sensor, which I think they're starting to bring in here as well. You just put your hand over this sensor and it flushes. But the Japanese have come up with these toilets that as soon as you get up off of them, they flush automatically. That's pretty cool. As soon as you stand up, they flush by themselves. That's cool. Can't believe I'm getting like hyped up about toilets. This is epic. Now there is one thing on Japanese toilets that kind of sets them apart from other toilets. And this is a function called a washlet function thingy majig. I don't actually know the name of it, but I'm pretty sure that's close. And this thing, it allows you to wash yourself while on the toilet. If you want to know more information about that, look it up. Apparently, there is also a setting or a function on this thing that allows you to heat the toilet seat, so you don't have to sit in a cold toilet seat. That's pretty epic. So You don't want to go pressing the wrong buttons on this thing. Generally speaking, there's only 3 buttons, but they can be confusing. So there's one to wash the front, there's one to wash the back, and then there's one to stop. And I'm gonna just play a quick example of why you shouldn't just randomly press the buttons.
That hit the roof. I'm not joking, that hit the roof.
Now, in Japanese toilets, there is something that is very interesting that it's not really seen very much here. I don't think you can really see it at all here, actually. But this is a thing in the cubicle that simulates the sound of flushing water. So while you're doing your thing, you're going about your business, you can hit this button on the wall and simulate the sound of so you can't be heard outside of that cubicle. And that is genius. I'm just saying. Now there is one other button that is, it's very clever as well, but you do not want to press this at the wrong point or by accident. And that is a button labeled Yobidashi. Now you do not want to press this by accident because it is the emergency call button, which is for use by disabled people, or if you suddenly become sick or ill or whatever, you hit that button, it's gonna summon the emergency people. Emergency people? These super high-end toilets are owned by a company called Toto, pretty sure. Some other cool things about Japanese toilets is that when you walk into the cubicle, on some of these toilets, the lid can open by itself, which is it's quite good for people who have like, what's that thing called? People who are germaphobes. That's the one. If you're a germaphobe, Japanese toilets are gonna be for you, because they just by themselves, you know? They just whoop, and then you just go about your business. You don't have to worry about touching that thing, you know what I'm saying? The washlet was created in 1980, and at the time it was sold for 149,000 yen, which at the time was about $660. It was a lot of money. So the whole idea came from the European bidet, which is like a sink that you like sit on. If you get what I mean? It makes sense, right? That's where the whole idea started. Except they wanted to put it actually into an electric toilet. It's pretty cool, right? Water and electricity put together. So in this thing, there's a little, like a wand that comes out of it. And it comes out and then it sprays water, and it's pretty cool. But they spent so long trying to get that perfect angle, that place where it needed to be, you know what I mean? And they eventually did find it, and it turns out 43 degrees is just right. The smart way in which Toto managed to sell this is they targeted golf clubs. Now, before you go going, why does that matter? You see, golf clubs are where businessmen go. And by targeting those golf clubs, the businessmen were using these toilets. And they were going, oh, this is pretty cool. And eventually they got funding, and then it just blew up. It was pretty smart. So to emphasize just how well these washlets sold, you can find them in the Louvre, which, last time I checked, is not in Japan. It is in France. I started that wrong, and then it just got cringier and cringier as I went on, and then it just ended with, in France. So, an interesting fact as well about these toilets is that Toto, the company that makes the washlet and these toilets now, they have their own museum for toilets. And some of the exhibits are a little questionable. There is actually an exhibit which is a poop-powered motorcycle. There's a motorbike powered on poop. Wow, I never thought that sentence would come out of my face. But, however, no matter how silly the museum may seem, it is actually very cool because it shows off how much the company has made the toilets better over time. And you can go there and you can see the oldest toilet there, and it's literally like a hole in the ground. But now you've got these toilets that don't have a rim on them, so there's nowhere for germs to go in there. They have a way of getting rid of the sound of using a toilet, which I've talked about already. They have a way of getting rid of the smell of using a toilet, which is brilliant. It's awesome. How do you do that? I don't know. They've also developed a special coating that goes onto the toilets that leaves them super smooth. And it means that nothing sticks to these toilets. And it's weird to think about. Now I've got that image in my head. Oh, why did I decide to do a video on toilets? When you flush these Toto toilets as well, it sprays the toilet with water that has been electrolyzed to give it a kind of acidic pH value, which means that it kills bacteria on the toilet when you flush. I mean, come on. These toilets are awesome. In 2002, Toto launched this thing called the Tornado Flush, which means it's like the water doesn't come from the top of the bowl, it comes from the sides. So it naturally swirls around in the toilet and it uses less water. And eventually, they managed to get the water usage down to 3.8 liters per flush. It used to be up at like 13 liters per flush. They managed to get it down to 3.8. That's nearly 10 liters they've reduced it by. That's mad. And to top it all off, last year Toto put out a new toilet called the Neorest X, I think. Hold up. NX. Neorest NX, right? $6,000. It is $6,000 to get a toilet. It is the most expensive toilet in the world, barring those that are like covered in diamonds and gold and all that. As far as standard toilets go, it is the most expensive toilet in the world that you can get. That's insane. Just to compare, the standard washlet thing is $2,500. Like, these things aren't going for little amounts of money, you know? You gotta have big money to get in there. You gotta be able to flex on them before you get one of these things. And what's cool as well is that this year, the Olympics are being held in Tokyo. So Toto are hoping to, like, show off their toilets to all the Olympic Games people. Olympic Games people? Olympic medalists? No. I don't know what sentence that is. So, that's all I've got for toilets. It was an interesting video to make. It's actually very fun. I learned a lot. I didn't know all this. I mean, even if you go back to the start of this video, I probably contradicted myself a good 4 times. But to like, it was an epic journey. I don't think I'm going to be using one of the toilets anytime soon, but they're very cool. Alright, I think I've talked enough now about Japanese toilets. I think it's time to go do something else. If you managed to watch the entire way through this video, like, congratulations. I do also want to point out that I did all my research as I recorded the video, so, it might end up being, like, really bad. Also, I don't think the camera quality is very good. But that's okay. It's just because I'm recording it on my phone. It should be alright. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, super slap that like button as hard as you can. There's also a subscribe button down there if you want to do the same to that. There's also a dislike button, but please don't press that. Thank you guys once again so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. High five.